Sorry for the random setup, but the Indiana Fever just lost a really tough game to Seattle. And I think in this game they had a real good chance to win, but they lost. But there were some good takeaways from the game. Caitlin Clark had nearly a double-double in this game. She had 20 points. She was 6 for 17 from the field, though. So she could have did better with efficiency. I think she was 3 for 8 from 3, though. So 3-point wise, she was more efficient than she usually is, which is great. And also, she wasn't forcing the issue. And what I mean by forcing the issue is not overly shooting the ball, but she wasn't overly passing it. She was taking her shot. 17 shot attempts is really good. I think in her last game she had around the same. I think she had 16 or 17 in the last game as well. So the more shot attempts for Caitlin Clark, the better. In my opinion, I think the more she shoots, the better for this team. She needs to shoot the ball more. In reality, Kelsey Mitchell really has to get back into a groove. It's almost like reminding me of Klay Thompson for the Golden State Warriors, whatever he was going through. I don't know much about the woman's background, what happened over the offseason. I heard she didn't play in the training camps or this and that, but she really needs to start hitting layups because I talked about in the last game, she misses a lot of layups, and it's like a real issue at this point. I think in that game she went like 5 for 15 or 6 for 15, somewhere around there. She wasn't very efficient in this game either. She had her moments, but she's just inefficient when it comes down to missing layups. And it's one thing for Clark to be a bit inefficient at this point. She's a rook and she's adjusting. We're seeing where she's coming from, right? Kelsey Mitchell averaged 18 points last year, and she shot it 44% from the field. So we know what you're capable of. You're an all-star caliber player. I think she's in the top 4 all-time in points in NCAA women's basketball. You are a great player. We need her to come out and hit her layups, and she needs to be in control when she gets to the lane. And every shot's not a good shot. I know she has that Michael Porter Jr., that Michael Porter, I'm not passing the ball junior mentality, but she's got to pass that ball. She's got that Klay Thompson mentality, but you got to pass that ball up sometimes. Because once you kick it, then it's going to come back to you if the offense flows correctly. And I think every time she gets the ball and the shot clock's running low and it's 8 seconds left, she just decides that, and even when it's 12 seconds left, she just decides that she has to go and make a play because she thinks nothing's about to happen. And I think she has to have more trust in her teammates and have more trust in herself to be able to make the right pass and the ball will go around. And even if you're shooting with 3 seconds left, it's a good, high-quality shot. You don't have to rush it. I think there's a lot of panicking because they look at the clock and they see that the defense playing well, and they decide to just kind of go ISO ball one-on-one. And I don't think they need to do that. You also had a woman off the bench. I'll put her name on the screen because I don't know it right now, and I can't look at my notes. Like I say, I'm not in my regular setup. But she had, I think, maybe 4 or 5 threes in this game. She played really well. I would like to see more of her next to Leah Boston in these next games to come because she can stretch that floor. And if she's on that arc, if Caitlin's penetrating and then she passes it, or Caitlin's penetrating and then 2 come with her and maybe her defender is lagging, Caitlin can kick it to her and she'll hit that shot because she's a pick and pop player. So I really like what she was doing out there. And I want to talk about briefly just kind of the refereeing in the WNBA because I thought that was a really big part of this game as well. The refs kind of sucked, I'm not going to lie. There was a lot of times where, Caitlin would go to the rim or even Kelsey Mitchell would go to the rim, and it would seem like there's enough contact for a foul. At least in the NBA, in the NBA, those are fouls. They're not calling them in the WNBA, and that's not really an issue because obviously you can't expect things to be the same in the W as it is in the NBA. But if you're gonna officiate in a certain way, then it needs to be the same across the board. On the other side for Seattle, they were getting, baby fouls here and there, dead ball or on the floor fouls where you barely touch them and they would call that a foul. Well, on the other side, they're not calling that. And I think there's got to be pressure on these refs with Caitlin, right? Because she's got so much notoriety. I mean, she's the most popular player in women's basketball currently, right? And, there's, the agendas, the other team, they have the agenda to clamp her up. And they're getting chippy, Caitlin's getting technical fouls, pushing players, and they're talking that stuff back. This is it's getting, the tension is there. These other teams are doing what they can to guard her. And even though, you're going to be well, we want, it to be physical. We want that part of the game to be in there. If it's a foul according to your rule book, it's a foul. If you're going to call it on the other side, you have to call it on this side. I know you want the chippiness, you want the scrappiness. I'm not mad at it. But the issue is, if you're going to call that on the other side and you're not going to call it on this side, like, I mean, that's the issue. That's a real issue. All in all, the Fever have to start playing defense as well. They're not playing defense. And I think Erica Wheeler, when she comes back, I think she's going to really have to, like, buckle down and, like, be that defensive stopper leader that she's capable of being. And I think, all in all, the Fever, they're going to be a good team eventually. What just needs to happen is more defensive pressure, more defensive engagement. Stop letting Caitlin Clark go on islands, because she obviously can't defend at this point on ball. She's a good defender when it comes down to getting blocks and steals and using her length in a good way, right? But she's not a good perimeter on ball defender. You catch her sleeping every once in a while. She's not that agile. She's a Steph Curry type. One thing I really liking is that Caitlin Clark has been watching Steph Curry film and noticing how he gets off to get his shots off, and she is doing some of those things in the game. You can catch her. Sometimes she'll give it the ball, come off a screen. She hit a couple off the, or at least I know she hit one off the ball 3-pointer this game. So the more she, implements some off ball things to her on the ball game, it'll make her a lot better. And what we're seeing from her is improvement. I think Aaliyah Boston is getting better as long as she keeps stretching the floor. They're playing their best basketball at the end of these games, and I think that that's a good sign, because they're not giving up and they're figuring each other out. Another thing, sides. I know I made a video about her and about how she is kind of incompetent, but one thing I can stand behind is the fact that she is changing. She's willing to change and shake it up. She played Caitlin more minutes. I think it seemed like she played nearly the whole game today. So I love it. The rotations were different. Caitlin played the game today, and I like that. I like that a whole lot. And also, she just stood firm on her word. She said she wasn't going to let the players get text, and she went out there, got a text today. She looked a little bit weird doing it. She looked, a pouty face, like a crybaby. She looked a bit weird, but it was her moment. She got the technical foul. It was her moment. It'll be in the media. So shout out to her. But yeah, that's my little cover on the Fever game. And another video coming later, if not like right after this video, on the Mavs Minnesota game. Right now it's halftime. Mavs are killing him. I can't wait to talk about Luka in a second, because I've been talking about him all season. So yeah, that's why I'm in this video off. Hope you guys enjoyed. I certainly did. It's my little analysis. I got a video coming soon, hopefully when I get back in my setup, about some of the refereeing, because somebody gave me an idea, so we're going to talk about that. And other than that, I'll see you guys later. Peace out.